So how often does a wood pergola actually need to be stained? Is this some annual chore you have to put on the calendar, or can you wait a few years? It's a great question. Let's break down the real answer.
Well, there's no single schedule that fits every single pergola out there. The right timing really comes down to three key factors. These are the things that are really going to determine how your structure weathers over time.
So what are they? First, you've got your local climate. Second is which direction the structure faces. And third, how well it was treated right from the very start. Getting these right is absolutely the key to longevity. So let's kind of see how these factors play out in different scenarios.
Okay, let's break this down. If your pergola is south-facing in a high-exposure desert climate, think about places like St. George or Scottsdale, you're going to be restaining it every 1 to 2 years. Why? Well, that intense UV exposure is the #1 thing that breaks down the finish. Now, in a more moderate climate, which is where most people live, every 2 to 3 years is pretty typical. And if your structure is north-facing or it's mostly in the shade, you can often push that to 3 to 5 years, sometimes even longer. But, and this is a big one, coastal environments are also considered high exposure, even if you're a few miles from the ocean. That salt in the air can just chew through a finish, sometimes as aggressively as the desert sun. So if that's you, you're back on that 1 to 2 year schedule.
But what about the very first time you restain a new pergola? That's a little different. For a professionally pre-treated structure, that first bit of maintenance happens about 12 to 18 months after it's installed. This is also the perfect time to caulk any of those little cracks, what we call surface checks, that might have popped up as the wood settles in. Once you've done that initial service, then you can switch over to the regular climate-based schedule we just talked about.
Now here's a crucial pro tip when you're choosing your materials. You have to use a UV-rated pigmented stain, not just a clear sealer. And here's why that's so important. A clear sealer only blocks moisture. It's the actual pigment in a quality stain that physically blocks the sun's UV photons from getting in and breaking down the wood fibers themselves. Big difference.
And hey, here's another common mistake you want to avoid. Never, ever apply an oil-based stain over an existing water-based one. They're just not compatible. The new coat won't be able to adhere properly, and what you'll get is a mess of peeling and flaking down the road.
Of course, there's one major exception to all these rules, and that's a bleached finish. This style is completely different because it's specifically designed to be left alone. It weathers naturally over time into this really beautiful silvery gray patina. So in this case, you can just skip the caulking and the restaining entirely.
If you want to learn more, you can read the full guide over at westerntimberframe.com. And Western Timberframe also offers a free design consultation to help you get started on your own project. Their whole philosophy is pretty simple, really. You imagine it, we bring it to life.